Good evening and welcome everyone. Whether you are joining us via Facebook or on YouTube or on Love 101 Live, guess what? We are delighted to have you join us today and every day. My name is Tamika Scott Walters and you are tuned to Family Time. Family Time is about your issues, your relationships, and your family, whether the one at home, school, work, or even in your community. Yes, whether you are yard or abroad, it is created with you in mind. Now, Family Time is produced by the Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to empower healthy families, which lead to a healthy nation. So stay tuned and invite a friend to join on any of our platforms Facebook, YouTube, or via Instagram, where we are live. Guess what? It is our first family time for 2023. So a happy new year to you. May all your plans come to fruition and may all your questions be answered, starting with today's interesting program. So, what big plans do you have for 2023? What are your plans? What is the life plan for you or your family? Now, on another level, what are your plans for life insurance? Listen up. Don't switch stations. Today, we are demystifying life insurance. I am Tamika Scott Walters, and alongside today's guest, we will be schooled as we get the answer to all our questions and concerns about life insurance. I know that some of us are very skeptical, don't even like hear the words life insurance. But just bear with us for the next hour and let's see if we can clear the air on the issues with life insurance for you and your loved ones. And while we do that, guess what? We want you to share your number one question or issue on life insurance because we have someone willing and ready to answer. What makes you don't want to get life insurance? Tell us about it, okay? Send those responses via WhatsApp, text, or voice note. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less, and you may send it to 876-997-3125 or call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook or our YouTube page. We will be right back. And our very special guest today is financial advisor Shernette Clark. Don't go anywhere. Soon come.
If you use music for any commercial purpose, you need a JCAP license.
Of course. And I benefit when my music is used commercially.
JCAP, the Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers, protects the rights of its members and worldwide creators of musical works by issuing licenses for the use of these works.
If you use music for any commercial purpose,
You need a JCAP license.
comply with the law.
Call JCAP at 948-5937 and 948-6439.
Get a JCAP license now.
Building your house and looking for everything in hardware from ground to roof? Save the hassle. It's Robinson and Sons Hardware, dedicated to giving you the best. Call Robinson and Sons Hardware 876-715-1724 or visit 18 West Palm Avenue, Port Antonio, Portland. If we don't have it, we'll get it for you. Robinson and Sons Hardware, Port Antonio, Portland, dedicated to giving you the best. 876-715-1724.
Yay! Get ready for an inspiring time inside Love in the Morning with me, your host, Jakal Dyer. This Tuesday, January 10 at 5:45 a.m., we give love shout-outs to some creatives and businesses that are leaving footprints in their respective fields. Grab your cup of coffee and start the day right with Morning Coffee Pick Me Up Devotional at 6 a.m. Then at 7 a.m., we bring you The Morning Watch with intriguing and thought-provoking discussions. 8:30 a.m., inside Healthy Way, we discuss keloid scars. Then at 9:35 a.m., the phone lines are open for A Voice for Hope, a time for listeners to call and share challenges faced and the help needed regarding light, water, and more in your community. Stick and stay with us this Island Vibes Tuesday inside Love in the Morning, 5 to 10 a.m. on the family station. Love 101.
A spiritual start. Precious moments we share with you, everything so right. Malta, you're full of life.
The time by Malta is
The time is now 5:35 p.m. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. We are so happy to have you join us. Now, remember, our interested topic today is demystifying life insurance. Okay, now you are going to share with us your number one question that you have about life insurance. And guess what? Our very, very special guest today is Sharnette Clark. Sharnette, how are you?
I am doing great. And how about you?
I am so excited to have you today, Sharnette. I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
I'm excited to be here. Happy New Year to everyone and to your viewers, the Love 101, and of course, the Love family, by extension, your viewers slash listeners.
Thank you so much. Guess what? Your question, or question rather, and your answers today are part of our New Year's plan. Now, to our listeners, Sharnette Clark is our financial advisor. Remember, we want to hear from you. So send those WhatsApp, texts, and voice notes. Remember to keep them 30 seconds or less and send it to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on our Love 101 Facebook or YouTube page, or call us in studios at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. Time is moving, so let's jump right in. Now, Sharnette, it's the new year, and it's the
Yes,
time of year when we have all sorts of new plans, right?
we should have all sorts of new plans.
All right.
Not
Well, guess what?
necessarily resolutions,
Yeah,
but learning from 2022. There are some things that worked and there were some things that didn't work. And we have to just be honest with ourselves.
yeah. I like that. We have to be honest. That's where it starts.
Yes.
Now, today's topic, demystifying life insurance. Now, I don't know if what the official definition for life insurance is, but when I think about life insurance, I always think, it's a good thing to have, even though
Mhm.
it is not perhaps this life that it will serve to benefit me. But I want you to share with us, you know, we have so many thoughts about life insurance. What really is the definition of life insurance? And what are the benefits?
All right. So that is one of the myths we need to demystify. When you said when you need it, it's not
Yeah.
just only death. So we're gonna break it down today in simple terms. But the basic definition is life insurance can be defined as a contract between an insurer and the insured. So you and the insurance company, and the contract specify where the insurer, that is, for example, my company promises you to pay a lump sum of money in exchange for even one or two premiums. We don't know when death would occur upon the death of an insured person after the period. So, for example, you pay one premium today on certain policies, and God forbids death should occur um, let's say next week or the day after, because the policy was settled and approved, depending on the policy, that lump sum that you pay that one premium for can be payable to your beneficiaries or beneficiary, whoever that person is, named beneficiary. And we're going to we're specifying that because that is what the contract. So the insurance policy falls under the law of contract, not under your will. Law of contract. So whatever is in the contract, whatever is stated in the contract, and I'm emphasizing that based on what has been coming up in the media about a certain church and church sister, it is what is named in the contract that the insurance company have to make payment to that beneficiary.
Okay, I understand. So there are certain rules that govern how life insurance operate. It's not just a reckless free-for-all thing. And I noticed you said name beneficiary. So
Named beneficiary,
yes,
yes. Which would
everybody
have
can
been
claim.
stipulated by the policy holder, the policy owner, the insured. That's the same person I gave you 3 names for. Policy owner, the insured, and also the holder of the policy. Then, so I own the policy, I hold it, and I'm the insured. So I would indicate to that company who that money needs to be paid to upon death.
Okay, so when we talk about life insurance now, I mean, the benefits that are there, who really stands to benefit? Because I may think, I'm not so sure I want to get this life insurance business because it more in it for somebody else than myself. Is it a two-sided thing for the benefits? I mean, what really is it?
You and I haven't spoken in a while, Tamika.
Yes.
Just realizing that it's you, Honeybun. We're friends on Facebook, but I'm going to use you as an example. Lady Tamika Scott Walters, double barrel means that there is a significant other, there's a husband, and presumably there are children, there are dependents. Now, if Sir Walters should pass on, God forbid, and he is the main breadwinner. So we have income coming into the household, your income, his income, but let's say he's the main breadwinner. And his contribution or expenses, your expenses are 300,000 per month, which includes your recurring expenses, your utilities, your food, basic necessities, food, shelter, clothing, and education for those beautiful little girls.
Yes.
So he is 200,000 and your contribution is 100,000. No pun intended, my dear. But he's the main breadwinner. God forbid he didn't come home because as a result of an accident, he passes on. Where is that $200,000 per month coming from to continue with the basic necessities for you and your beautiful girls? You are just contributing 100,000 to that 300,000. Your lifestyle remains the same. Your bills remain the same. School fee remains the same. Not only are you mourning the loss of your husband, but how is it that you're going to continue the basic necessities for your children? And if there are properties involved, now your estate. The government of Jamaica says if you and I own a property together, you and your husband, and one passes on, Mr. Walters in the case again, and you need to transfer the name of the deceased to the surviving spouse, you have at least 1 year to wind that up. If not, you're facing 6% on the value of the property per year until it is closed. So you wind up, you complete the transaction. What insurance affords you? Let's say, for example, again, his 200,000, his monthly income is 400,000, but his expenses is 200. What we say to Sir Walters is that we would recommend or suggest that your insurance coverage is your monthly income times 10.
Oh, you're planning for inflation, man.
So in the event of your family is able to stay afloat until you, Tamika, is probably able to get another job or an increase or some other mechanism to balance out what is ahead. Because there may be in prep school now, but what about their university?
Yeah.
What about if there are other medical issues? What if you should get ill? How are they going to survive? Because it's not a guarantee that you will be in perfect health or not, and you yourself don't pass on before they reach those ages where they're able to fend for themselves. So insurance is basically telling your loved ones or giving your loved ones a peace of mind. I got you if I'm not here and capable of handling my financial obligations to you. That's what you're saying to them. I love you enough to make sure that if I'm not here physically, that you don't have to depend on the second husband to take care of my daughters or the
Mhm.
second husband to run my house. But
Oh
you can
boy.
stand on your 2 feet until you're ready to remarry or not to
Mhm.
run this house if I am not here.
Boy. Look here, my husband head would have hurt him. Let me tell you, man, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, so guess what? Insurance is a way of saying, guess what? I've got you while I'm here, and even when I'm not, I still have your back.
I still have your back.
I
So
still have
you're
your
able to deal with your transfer tax, his final expenses, because remember, there's a funeral.
Oh
What
jeez.
is the cost of a funeral? The last
They
one I
are
did for
expensive.
November was a
Mhm.
basic funeral, $784,000.
Oh wow. Look here, man. So
A
look here, when
basic
that
funeral.
percentage, or amount that you say is recommended, which is 10 times, it really plans for all these unforeseen expenses and
Unforeseen,
the
because it could
increases
be
of life.
exactly, it could be that the person was ailing too. How do you pay medical expenses?
Mm.
Or the person was out of the job, so they weren't working for a few months. The insurance is going to cover that period, plus medical expenses, plus funeral, plus the transfer tax, plus the stamp duty, plus your children's education, plus basic necessities. All of those things have to be factored in, because guess what? You're gone, but those who loved you and dependent on you have to continue. And
Yeah.
how do they continue? Sometimes we mourn because we lack. And
Yeah.
how do we transfer wealth when we leave nothing for our children? These are good books. Love 101 knows the scripture. Leave an inheritance for your children's children. So if your children have nothing to start a footing on, how do they transfer wealth? How do you transfer it if you don't have it to transfer? Am I?
Is the fact that loves the interests of your loved ones. And I really like that. So the cultural understanding that we sometimes have, say, look, as somebody that gets all of the money when you're gone, it goes to show it's still taking care and fulfilling the very plans that you wanted to pursue even in your absence.
Yes.
I really,
And
really
I
love it.
believe it's a selfish statement when we make that. I don't want anybody to, and my children are. It's a selfish statement, because if it is that you don't want anybody to be able to have splurge your money, then well, leave at least the money to bury you. That we don't have, because Tamika, it is sometimes some things happen where it could be that you're studying at the time or you're ailing at the time when he passes on. How do you manage all of that?
Mm. Yeah,
How do
I'm
you
happy you
manage
said
all of
that.
that?
So I want to know now, because I want our listeners to understand. So in my case now, I'm married and I have children, but I want you to encompass all the persons who life insurance is for. Because I want somebody now to think, if they're thinking, sure, me no need life insurance because I'm single, she married, or I don't have kids. Who is life insurance really for, Sinead?
DJ Nicholas Segadafi, everybody, anybody, everybody. Same thing with life insurance.
Yeah.
Life insurance is for everybody. So if it is that you are, I speak from experience. My children have critical illness coverage. Child cancer is popular. Not praying for it, but if it should occur, where do I get the money from? They have life insurance and they have investment. So if you even don't want to think death, at least put an investment in place that is going to be creating some lump sum, and our investment policy on the life side has minimal coverage in terms of insurance. You may say, because I'm single, I don't need it. Life insurance can be used. So the sum insured, which is the face value, the amount that you're insured for, the death benefit, can be used as assignment for the purpose of mortgage. So if you're not thinking about that, no, every financial institution is saying once you need money to borrow for the purpose of land or purchase of home, you need life insurance. So if you are thinking that you don't need it, then use it for that purpose, because in the event of death, the financial institution wants to know that that loan is paid off if you should pass on, because that loan doesn't die with you. It has to be paid off. So life insurance serves in that purpose. If you have the younger you are, is the more affordable life insurance is, and in most cases, the healthier you are. So if a medical is required for certain insurance, definitely if you're healthier, you're able to pass that medical, and certain coverage amount. Some person wants some exorbitant coverage. It's more affordable now comparing to me at 45. For example, I purchased an additional 4 million in terms of my critical illness coverage, and I had to pay 6,066 to be exact. This is the truth. 20 years ago, I probably would be paying maybe about 2,500 for that same coverage. So the older you get is a more the I don't want to say the more expensive, but it gets expensive the older you are.
The
So
earlier the better.
I was quoting a price for a 72-year-old over the weekend. And when I told the guy to get $2 million, you're looking at about $7,000-$8,000, when if you had purchased this for your parents years ago, it would have cost less. His response, and of course, his voice lowered, because he might look to pay a $2,000 because my parents old. But the older you are, and sometimes your health deteriorates, you may be rejected in terms of the type of policy that you may require. When it comes to a young person, again, if you have your insurance for a while and would have garnered or gathered up or accumulated some cash value, the cash value
Savings.
of your policy, again, can be used as collateral towards certain loans. So there are benefits. Somebody who just get married. I had a friend a couple years ago, married. She was married for probably about 2 years, and one after her first son was born. Both of them lost their husbands. See, me say, I just get married, we don't need it, we're young, we're newlyweds. In the event your wife know or your husband know, that spouse should pass this on. Are you responsible, not mommy? Or you leave and you cleave? No. They're looking to wife and husband to bury that spouse. So you want to make sure also that you're building your financial portfolio from foundation. Come with your husband, your newlywed, and you're to say, let us start something, and your retirement. Everybody, the parents, who my parents have insurance in the event they don't want to leave a burden on my brother and I. We have insurance, they have insurance. So if that should occur, we can deal with their final expenses, their properties, if that should happen. They don't want to leave a burden to us. And the myth that we have that our children are pension, your children can predecease you. So
Yeah.
if pension predecease you, what is going to happen when you die? You need to put things in place to make sure that if that should occur, there's no burden placed on any one person. So the persons that it need insurance, let me put it in a nutshell. We have two types, of course, whole life and term.
Two types of insurance.
Two types. So the
Okay.
term insurance, as the word suggests, is for a period of time. It expires. And the
It has
whole
an
life,
expiration date.
it has an expiration date. So you may say, I just need the life insurance for 10 years for the purpose of mortgage, or I need it for 25 years, or I
Okay.
need it for 30 years. Those insurance tend to cost a little less. But remember, it expires at the end of that mortgage or that loan.
And you would have to start over again, provided
If it
you.
is provided your health has deteriorated and you now see the need for insurance, I would suggest a whole life policy where it's for life. Now, young adults starting their career need insurance. When you settle into your first or second job and take a responsibility for your own financial matters, you likely are balancing myriads of priorities. So you want to make sure that you don't forget about it and you put that in place. As I said before, newly married couples, as you build a life together with your spouse, it is likely that your individual financial responsibility, you're coming together now, and you want to make sure that if anything should occur, that you have that in place.
So
So your health
Shanae,
is, yes.
you said it's for everybody. And I see the benefits, I see the pattern. So we know that it is for the single, it is for the
Married,
married person, it is for the
mother,
male, the
parents,
female, the
parents
young,
with some
the
young
old,
children.
parents and children. But I
So
want to know, what age does it start? How old do I have to be to look about life insurance?
we start from 2 months right up to age 80.
Hmm, two
So
months.
you can
Okay.
be issued a policy from 2 months and age 80. I did a couple recent, well, last year who are both age 80 and both were diabetic and also had hypertension. They were rated in terms of higher premiums, but that's what the best we could have done for them because they have waited so long. But their children saw it fit at this stage of their life that, you know what? We need to get some insurance for them. We should have considered it years ago. But based on how the economy is going, we need to take out something in the event of.
Up to age 80. So look here, I can't get it after 80. But
No,
what happens if I get it before 80? Does it stop when I turn 80?
no, it doesn't. It stays in force. That's the
Continuous.
last issue in age.
Hmm. Okay.
Last issue in age.
So you have to really get it before you turn 80, and it will take you
Six
beyond.
months after you're 80, you can't get it either. So
Okay.
before the 80th birthday is important. But the premiums are going to be high. And at that point in time, you are going to need a medical based on the age. So I encourage everybody, the younger you are, it is more affordable and more than likely your health
So the
is.
earlier the better.
But if it is that you have conditions that you think may not qualify you to get insurance, there are other plans that we have as non-med plans that you don't require medical, but there's a waiting period. So if it is that you feel that you wouldn't qualify for a whole life, a regular whole life, or a term, then there are plans in place. So we have plans for everybody. I remember years ago, I signed a gentleman on his bed at KPH, and he actually died 2 years later. And the waiting period for that policy was 1 year, they would have gotten 50% of the sum insured, and the second year, they would have gotten full benefit. So she got the full benefit for her father, and he already was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So we have policies for everybody. Persons who are HIV, we have a certain up to 10 million that can be you can be insured for. So we have policies for everybody, from the young to the single, the young adult, my age 45, I won't say the older, and then you have the older up to age 80. So we have a policy for everybody. There is no need for anyone not to have life insurance. And of course, we have critical illness insurance and health insurance. Everybody can be insured. And of course, I spoke about the 10 times how much the monthly income would have been for your husband. If you're not able to afford that insurance at the stage you're at in terms of your earnings, then we can look at the portfolio and see, work with a budget in mind to see what is it that you can afford now, purchase what you can now, because you can increase your insurance at a later date in terms of what is required now. But I'm going to say start with what you can manage.
Yeah.
And then
Start now.
get
Start with what you can manage. Yeah.
yes.
All right. So I have to ask, because guess what happened? We know we hear all the stories, and remember today we are demystifying life insurance. So we would heard it on the news, or somebody, granny, cousin, auntie, friend, tell them a story about somebody who had a case of death, or
Yes.
perhaps a threat to one's life.
I'm assuming that we're talking about the issue now of trust and married for the insurance. I am going to continue while Tamika comes back. So I normally encourage my clients or persons that I interact with that if it is that you should be very careful in terms of your selection in terms of a beneficiary. And in most cases, you don't have to tell your beneficiary that they are a beneficiary. Don't go around telling everybody who your beneficiaries are. So if you think that person is responsible one and is going to deal with the final expenses how you would have wished, or is it that you rather your spouse take care of the children instead? You can outline what you want the policy to do in terms of it's someone that you trust. um I don't know, life is so unfair sometimes in terms of distorting things that were set out to benefit us. But I would encourage anybody that is going to be taking out life insurance and considering a beneficiary that you make your selections very carefully. So I would encourage the single men to probably use their mothers as beneficiary instead of a girlfriend, because sometimes those relationships don't last, and sometimes those relationships can become very toxic. So you have to be very selective in terms of who your beneficiaries are. Very
Okay.
selective, because I've discouraged single men, say it's my girlfriend, and I said use your mother instead. You try to encourage them. No, man, I'm a wife that. And within a year or two, him say, look here, me can change my beneficiary to my mother.
So look, you heard it. We are demystifying life insurance. Listeners, remember to share with us your number one questions and issues and all the concerns you have about life insurance. We are looking forward to your responses. So WhatsApp, text, and send your voice notes. Remember, 30 seconds or less, and send it to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on our Love 101 YouTube or Facebook page, or give us a call in studio at 968-8327 or 968-83282 to participate. Remember, we have our very special guest, Shernette Clark, demystifying life insurance, and she's happy to answer all your questions. Remember, the numbers for the Family Life Ministries head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. When we get back, we'll still be here. Soon come.
If you use music for any commercial purpose, you need a JCAP license.
Of course. And I benefit when my music is used commercially.
JCAP, the Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, protects the rights of its members and worldwide creators of musical works by issuing licenses for the use of these works.
If you use music for any commercial purpose,
You need a JCAP license.
comply with the law.
Call JCAP at 948-5927 and 948-6439.
Get a JCAP license now.
Very often when we're thrown into grief, we wonder, oh, when me do some make God allow this to happen? When there is a death, loss of a job, a car accident, failure in a relationship or an important test, a devastating medical report, especially when it happens to good, kind, law-abiding, God-loving people. When things don't go our way, we often wonder, why me? But what does the Bible say about this approach? Should we say, why not me, God? Tuesday, January 10 on The Rock, join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Pastor Dion Lindo Witter and Minister Simon Azan as they discuss the topic, Why Me, God? That's The Rock, Tuesday, January 10 at 10 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Yay! Get ready for an inspiring time inside Love in the Morning with me, your host, Jakal Dyer. This Tuesday, January 10 at 5:45 a.m., we give love shout-outs to some creatives and businesses that are leaving footprints in their respective fields. Grab your cup of coffee and start the day right with Morning Coffee Pick Me Up Devotional at 6 a.m. Then at 7 a.m., we bring you The Morning Watch with intriguing and thought-provoking discussions. 8:30 a.m., inside Healthy Way, we discuss keloid scars. Then at 9:35 a.m., the phone lines are open for A Voice for Hope, a time for listeners to call and share challenges faced and the help needed regarding light, water, and more in your community. Stick and stay with us this Island Vibes Tuesday inside Love in the Morning, 5 to 10 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
A spiritual start.
Welcome back. It is now 6:04 p.m. This is family time, and today we are demystifying life insurance. Now, remember, viewers, listeners, share with us your number one question or issue with life insurance. What makes you not want to get life insurance? Now, let me tell you, our very special guest in studio today, Sharnette Clark, has answered all the questions that I really wanted to know. And I'll tell you, a big one was the age factor. I had no idea that life insurance could start at 2 months. And so now, as a parent, I'm thinking, there are some healthy habits that we always want to start our kids on because we figure the earlier the better. Now I know because instead of have them start when they're perhaps 18 or older, it is something that I could initiate, educate them on, and teach them the responsibility going forward. What about you? Have you gotten your question answered? If not, send us a voice note, send a text, share on our social media platform. Sharnette is ready and willing to answer. Sharnette, welcome back. Listen,
Thank you.
the facts and fallacies have in fact been debunked. But what I want to know is what else can life insurance do for us today? I know you shared so many of those examples, especially for the young persons who are, single and they can use it to guarantee certain things. Can you perhaps share with us, for example, maybe some figures or calculation for someone who may be in a good health, someone at this stage, so that persons can get an idea of what it may cost them?
Well, let me see. 10 million for someone who is 22. Life insurance, you're probably looking at about 3,000 thereabout per month. Good health. Critical illness for the same 10 million can take you about 5,000. So if you're working with a budget of, let's say, 10,000 per month, we can do some life insurance, some critical with some investment attached to one of the policies. Let's say you say, I can't afford 10, but maybe I can start with 5, or maybe I can start with 3. We will see what on what amount that can bring you. So whether we drop it to 5 million or we drop it to 3 million, we can put in some supplemental term to say in the future you're going to be guaranteeing insurance without evidence of insurability, no, without some insurance to add that, and you have a period where you'd have to add that amount to the existing sum insured, and you have the option of buying again too. But then we don't want to wait until we're older when it's more expensive, and also your health might deteriorate. So the supplemental term helps to back that if you're considering to buy additional insurance. Because, for example, you want a 10 million coverage now, but you can only afford 5. Put 5 as a base amount and then the balance 5 in supplemental term. You have up to age 65 to convert that balance of 5 million without evidence of insurability, and you can have your 10 million at a later date. But you can just buy your 5 if you're able to afford that with the money that you have, because it's also about budgeting. And I noticed there was a Christine that asked a question: what happened when I'm broke and can't pay no more? And let's say, for example, we go back to the 10 million scenario. You took out 10 million, but for some reason COVID hit, or illness, or you've lost your job, whatever reason, or you have additional expenses. The first thing that we do is cancel our policies, or what we call lapse. Some people say collapse, but it's lapse the policy, because that's the first thing they say is not important. And you have the option, just as how you have the option to increase the sum insured, which would pay additional premium, you have the option of reducing an affordable amount until you're able to increase again, or keep it there until you balance out. So you don't have to lapse the policy. For those of you who have some cash value on it, did you know your savings can use to pay some premiums until you're able to get back on your feet? You have access to the amount then to make some payments up front. You can pay annually if you so desire, if it's a monthly premium, when it is that you're in abundance. But make sure the last thing that you do is cancel the policy. I've known of persons who cancel the policy and then something happens that they need it. So when they needed the insurance, it was not there for them. And I'm not talking about 10 years later cancellation. I'm talking about 6 months.
Round the corner.
Round the corner.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes, you can reduce.
So you really have a plan for every pocket, and you work with people. So
every pocket.
You maybe change job or something happen that for whatever reason doesn't afford you the opportunity to pay as you would. I can come in and say, Sharnette, you know that I'm going through a little thing now and I don't think I can pay this amount, So what you can do for me?
Yes. Yes, you can. And the fact that you mentioned work, I wanted to touch on that point. Someone asked the question, I already have group insurance with my company, so I don't need any additional coverage. You can lose that job. That insurance is gone. That company can wind up and that insurance is gone. Some of these companies don't inform you that you have 30 days in which to convert that policy to an individual policy without evidence of insurability. So again, if you're employed with a company and you're leaving and you have group insurance, you can take that insurance with you and pay out of your pocket as an individual. But
convert it and carry on.
After they close the policy to convert to an individual policy without evidence. So even if your health has decreased drastically, we don't require medical, it will be converted and you can continue to pay your insurance.
So all our listeners and viewers, if it is that you're transitioning from a job or look, the company shut down, redundancy, we have 30 days, Sharnette says, to convert, and it affords you the chance to not start over from scratch with the medical and everything, but to continue and guess what? Make the plan your own, turn it into an individual plan so we can continue. Now, Sharnette, that is for the person who transitioning in job or redundancy or something. What of the person now who I have my nice life insurance plan going, but may I go foreign? So many persons are migrating all over the US, the UK. What happens to that now? Because I'm migrating next week. What happened to my plan?
Keep your policy in place. They're much more expensive overseas. You have the option to use your fancy credit card, Sagicor Client Web to pay online, or Paymaster online to pay your policies. We have created that portal. I have clients in Canada. I have clients in Cayman. I have clients in America. I don't have any in the UK at the moment because none has moved there yet. But there are clients who have chosen to keep their policy, had decided that they would have canceled it, But when they look at how much they're paying overseas, they'd rather keep the policy here. Because nothing changes in terms of that. And I've had to done claim with persons who are overseas. They pass on and the beneficiaries just submit the documents and it was paid out to them. So it's not a if or but or maybe. It's something that I have to deal with on a daily basis. Well, persons don't die daily, but it's transaction that I have to deal with.
All right. Well, guess what? We have a caller online. So let's hear what myth they want to have debunked. Caller? Good evening.
Good evening, family life.
Good evening.
This is Brother Keith, calling from 2 Morgan Lane. I listen in family life, you see.
Yeah.
I'm 84. The 19th of this month, I'll be 85. And I don't interested to join in the policy, but I must call. Because when I listen to what he's saying on the ear, it sounds very good. And it is, I'm telling the whole world, it suits anyone to come into this policy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we wonder, say, the collapse and it, this and it, that. But you see, we have to just look to the forward thing. Don't look backward, just look forward. Because anything in life can happen. And if we look down and don't look up, we lose the map. We have to just go and look up.
Yes, caller. Thank you. I
love what I hear. Lay down on the bed, and listening to Family Life Ministry this evening. Understand the policy sounds very, very good.
Carla, I love that. So you say thank you, Carla. Or Carla is 84 years old. And him know say, he's not gonna get the plan because it stops at 80. But he knows that it's a good thing. So he's looking forward to Carla. Tell your family, tell your friend, tell your grandkids, tell your neighbor, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, because it's really beneficial. And Shernette would have explained for us so many opportunities where the policy stands to benefit us in this life while living, not just after death. So really and truly, callers, listeners, continue with your questions and know that look, we are demystifying this insurance business here today. Now, another question that we have as it relates to life insurance coverage, Shernette, is that we want to know how long after the insurance lapse before we continue. But guess what? I'm gonna give you a chance to answer that question when we get back from our break.
Whatever the time, whatever you do, Hanes Underwear is the brand for you. Hanes Underwear for the perfect fit. Hanes Underwear is a hit. Dressing up to go with Hanes Under is how we flow. Comfort and style for everyone. A favorite for generations. Hey, Hanes. Hanes for the perfect fit. Hanes is a hit.
Hanes, the must-wear underwear.
Welcome back to our listeners. It is now 6:16 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by the Family Life Ministry. Now, the Family Life Ministries provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program. Remember, we are on Facebook and YouTube Live, so tune into our program via the Love 101 Facebook or YouTube page. Now, the topic for today is demystifying life insurance with our very special financial advisor, Shernette Clark. Shernette, now before the break, we had that question. Let me just remind you. How long after the policy lapse can it be redeemed? And are there penalties? If yes, what are they?
30 days. You have 30 days after the lapse date. So let's say we had a lapse list running over the weekend. So it lapsed Saturday morning. 30 days after Saturday, you have what we call to reinstate the policy. And reinstating the policy would mean that depending on what policy you have, it would have lapsed after 4 months. And we have another one for 6 months and the child protector at 3 months. So it means you would have to pay up all the monies outstanding for the 4 months in order to get back that policy in force. You paying that money within 30 days would appear as if the policy didn't lapse. So your benefits wouldn't change. Remember, I spoke early of the whole life policy. If you go outside of the 30 days, and let's say, for example, you needed a medical for that insurance, they may require medical to reinstate it after the 30 days. And if they don't, there's a form that you have to fill out for us to know the status of your health. With the 30 days, all you have to do is pay the money. Your advisor, like myself, would just send a query and have the policy reinstated. Or if you were in office, the policy would have been reinstated immediately. The non-med plans that we spoke about that don't require medical to get those insurance, if you go outside of the 30 days, remember I spoke about the gentleman 1 year up to the 12th month. If you die before, the premiums that you have paid for the period would have been paid to the beneficiaries. At the 13th month is 50% of the sum insured. So let's say you were insured for 10 million. Only $5 million would have paid to them after a year. And after 2 years, the full 10 million would have been paid. But if you pay the money outside of the 30 days, that counting period is going to start again. So if they die anytime soon, what would be refunded would be the premiums because the policy lapse outside of the 30 days grace period.
So we shouldn't make our policy lapse.
If it
And
lapse,
no,
find the money and pay up within 30 days, you have your policy good again.
and if we feel we're in a
Any penalty.
position, if we feel we're in a position where look, the policy may lapse, we can come in, you say, and say, look here, get a reduction of the amount and make the changes before it even gets to that stage.
And if it is going to lapse, it means that you would have paid no premiums for 6 months or 4 months. Go in and pay at least one month.
So you have to pay nothing for 6 months before you get to that stage.
So if you have a policy that is 4 months behind, January is what now? September, October, November, December. How it go again? October, November, December, January. So if you have a policy that is at the 28th, November, December, January, at the 28th of October, for example, and is one of those non-med, it's going to lapse at the 4th month. So it's going to lapse the 28th of January. Which is the end of this month. So pay even one premium on it. So it not lapse. Your advisor call you and tell you to go pay it. Go pay the money because we watch the system and we don't want you to lose your money. We don't want your policy to lapse. Yes, we earn a commission, but we don't want to know that anything should happen to you. Your loved ones have nothing to get. And then them say my company is a thief.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to listen when you call. You hear?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to listen when you call and encourage, listeners, viewers, we encourage you to listen to your insurance advisor when they call you. Now, I have another question. Remember when we talk about that migrating, I assumed that perhaps life insurance was based on our living environs. So when I decide to migrate, is it that I will be able to maintain my insurance and policy as it is? Or are you going to maybe charge me now because I'm going to make foreign dollars?
Same premiums that you've been paying unless you initiate an increase. The only difference with persons who are residing outside of Jamaica now is that we also have policies that are available online. Once you're out of the jurisdiction, residing overseas, we're not able to insure you. But if you had your insurance before, it stays in force, it remains the same. If it is that you visit the island, and let's say you want life insurance, in which I have some Canadian clients, and it's a whole life you want, a medical is going to be required, you can get the policy. Once you have a TRN, and you're able to fill out the FADCA forms, etc., that are required for persons living in the United States, etc., you can get life insurance. Because there are persons, we have Jamaicans who are living overseas who are still purchasing property here and wants the insurance for the purpose of the mortgage. And they can still get it. Once we have the documents for the required information, you're able to get it with your medical.
Awesome. All right. Yes. So, Shanette, I want you to remind one of our listeners. They say, good evening, family life. If one has a policy and the person lives beyond 80 years, would the policy be valued? So remind us.
Yes. So the whole life policy goes up to age 100, where you can, after that, decide to take your cash value or you can surrender the policy or let it stays in force. The non-med plans issue one of them up to age 75 and there are others for age 60. And some of them, and like I said, you would have to have this discussion based on what you're requiring in terms of insurance. They're valid for 20 years. For example, we have a critical illness. 20 years and after that, it refunds you 100% of the premiums that you have paid for the period. So there are different insurance that, depending on what you're looking for, we would have that discussion and we'll see which one best fits your portfolio. For those of you who already have company insurance or other insurance, it may be that insurance for the purpose of mortgage. You can have another insurance for the event of death or for the children. You can have more than one insurance for different purposes. So for those of you who don't trust whomever, and you want to make sure that whomever is covered, you can take out different life insurances for that beneficiary. I'm not promoting anything on love, but I'm just saying, if you want to differentiate, then you can have different insurance for different purposes once you can afford it. And for those that you may need a medical for, once you can pass a medical.
All right. We have another question, Shernate. What about if you're a part of a group? Can you turn it into a personal policy?
The only way you can do that is if you're leaving the company, as was mentioned before, or you're the company closing down or winding up, or redundancy. So you can't just up to say, oh, I want this to convert to Sagicor and you're still working with the company. No. And their group insurance are beneficial in a guys in terms of affordability because it's a pool, a group. You don't necessarily need to do any underwriting purposes, which would require medical sometimes, and it is more affordable. So if you can't afford an individual policy, make sure, find out if your company does life insurance for you. For those who are contracted, they may not. And that is where you have the individual policies, which are the same policies that are issued to take that out for yourself, something that you can afford. And let me tell you something, young people are taking out insurance now, because they're educating themselves what the policies are for. There's a young man I insured years ago because his mother, and he called me on the weekend because his mother took out insurance for him. He wants to know what's the purpose of it, what else can he get, and he wants to be educated on insurance. So young people are not oblivious or following what we have, our predecessors, or the fallacies that we have about insurance and investment. They're making sure that they put those things in place while they're younger because they want to acquire the properties. They want to be buying there because your insurance policies, most of them allow you to have consistent savings. So if it is that, a young lady told me once, and I'd give it, that she's saving $20,000 a month in her savings account. And I was like, whoa, that's commendable. But every time she goes to the ATM and pull it out, false sense that she's saving. She's not. She's spending the money.
I definitely get it.
And
Yeah.
I said to her, I want $10,000 of that. I'm going to leave you with 10 to be saving on a monthly basis consistently. And when she saw the amount, she said, why me never do this all along?
So look, our young people, some of them they have gotten all the myths out of the way and they are on their game. For some of us, like that young lady, we are learning it. Look, Shernette, we are almost assurance on me without my knowledge or permission. So because of the trust issue, I must ask that one. And as we go as well, I want you to give our listeners an idea of any tips and secrets and how do they go about deciding the insurance plan that's right for them.
First of all, the name is Shernette Clark. The contact is 877-6130. You can find me at Shernette_Clark at Sagicor.com. I'm on YouTube, The Iconic Advisor. I'm on Instagram, Icon Sherns. You need to have the discussion. So it's not a one size fit all as it relates to insurance. Because depending on where you are, on what stage of life you are, and what is it that you're trying to achieve, then we have the discussion. And then we can decide what you can afford and what is suitable for you. The tips in ask your questions, you can also read. And we have information and brochures available on all the products that are offered at Sagicor. So it is not that you're oblivious to what is it that you're getting. And what you need to be is to be upfront and honest with your advisor so we're able to recommend the right product for you. No, not because your friend have the ultra life, you want the ultra life. Decide, let your advisor know I'm looking for something for XYZ and let them do the recommended. We're trained for that, guys. So let us do the recommendation. And if you can't afford the recommendation, then we do some adjustments. Start planning. It starts with the mindset, guys, because if we didn't do it last year, what are we going to be doing different this year? We're getting older. Our healths are deteriorating. And if you should go to bed tonight and don't wake up tomorrow, what will you say to your beneficiaries? What would you say to your dependents? What would you say to your wife? What would you say to your children? Is something in place in the event of accidental death, or you get ill, or whatever the case is, you are not around to take care of your family? What responses would you have for them if they had to ask you the question, did you? or how come? Put
Sharnette,
something in
the
place.
iconic Clark. Listen, listeners and viewers, you heard it on Family Time. You have just had your myths and all the questions you had demystified about life insurance from our very special guest, financial advisor Sharnette Clark. Sharnette, thank you so much for being here with us. Listeners, viewers, if you have any questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a family or a friend, give us a call at Family Life Ministries for our center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue. Call 876 939 7917 for more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island. You may contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Please note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with Family Life Ministries and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries. Before we leave you, here is this evening's Bible verse. John 6, verse 35. Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never thirst. Join us again next week at 5:30 p.m. Same time, same place. Love 101 FM on Facebook and YouTube Live via the Love 101 Facebook page and the Love 101 YouTube channel for another informative family time program. Thanks again to our very special guest, Sharnette Clark. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, studio facilitator Timoy Butler, and of course, you or listeners. Stay well, stay safe, and stay blessed. Have a blessed season and see you soon. I'm your host, Tamika Scott Walters.